Perception of cheating in high school. For our project, our group was interested in looking into the perceived repercussions of cheating. We wanted to know if students believed that there were sufficient penalties academically or otherwise for cheating. We expected that students would, in general, be more inclined to think that there are definite repercussions when cheating. In order to collect data for this project, we sent out a Google form to ETHS students asking about cheating habits as well as the perceived ease of cheating for the 5 different school assignments or types of school assignments, which were homework assignments, quizzes, tests, projects, and essays.
These are the 2 questions from our survey which we used for our analysis of the data.
The first statistical test we did was a one-sample Z interval using the results from the question, are there academic repercussions for cheating? From the data, which surveyed 36 students, we found that 64% of those students believe that there are academic repercussions for cheating. In order to construct the interval, first we had to check the assumptions. It is random because the data was collected using a random sample of ETHS students. The population is large enough because there are more than 360, or 10 times 36, students at ETHS. We checked to see if the data follows a normal sampling distribution by checking to see if n times p and n times 1 minus p are both greater than 10. They both are, so a normal model is appropriate. We then construct the interval by finding the z-score, which is 0.64, and the standard deviation, which is 0.08. The product of these two, which is 0.157, is then added and subtracted from the sample proportion, resulting in the interval 0.483 to 0.796. We are 95% confident that the true proportion of ETHS students who believe there are academic repercussions for cheating is contained by the interval 0.483 to 0.796.
Our second statistical method for analyzing our data was a chi-squared test for homogeneity. We worked under a null hypothesis that the proportion of male and female students at ETHS who believed that there are academic repercussions for cheating are equal, and an alternative hypothesis that there is a difference between these two proportions. Our data fit all the necessary assumptions. Our data was all counts. All expected counts, as denoted by the parenthetical numbers in the data table, are greater than 5. The data came from a random sample, and there are more than 360, or 10 times 36, our sample size, students in ETHS. Through the use of the data we gathered, we found our chi-squared test statistic to have a value of 0.658. We then plugged this value into a calculator using the chi-squared CDF function with degrees of freedom 1, which spit out a p-value of 0.417. Because this value is greater than our chosen alpha value of 5%, we fail to reject the null hypothesis, indicating that from our data there is no clear correlation between one's likelihood to believe that there are academic repercussions for cheating and one's gender.
To summarize our findings, our 2 tests analyzed if there are academic repercussions for cheating, and we found that only one of these tests were actually statistically significant. For our one-sample z-interval, we found that we are 95% certain that the true proportion of ETHS students who believe there to be academic repercussions for cheating is contained within the interval from 0.483 to 0.796. And our chi-squared test for homogeneity actually did not show us much about if there was a correlation between gender and if there was a belief that there are academic repercussions for cheating. In conclusion, our possible limitations that we thought of after completing this project was that although our survey was open for all grade levels, only 25% of respondents were actually underclassmen, and this 75% of respondents being seniors definitely could have skewed our results to reflect trends that really only the senior class has. We also, in our survey, asked a lot of questions, and we think that that possibly could have discouraged a lot of people from taking the survey just because it ended up being pretty lengthy. And we think that if we had made our survey shorter, we definitely would have gotten a lot more responses, which could have given us a lot more data to analyze and possibly given us a different result in the long run. So we would recommend to the administration that if around 20 to 50% of the student body thought that there's no academic repercussions for cheating, the more visible actions responding to student cheating might help to decrease the amount of cheating cases.